Okay, picture this. You, your best friends, a road trip into the stunning valleys of Kashmir to celebrate the new year. Sounds absolutely perfect, right? Well, for one group of friends, this dream trip completely unraveled into a story so terrifying it would haunt them for the rest of their lives.
So how does that even happen? How does the trip that starts with so much celebration and laughter take such a dark turn? Well, it all starts when local legends are ignored and one single bad decision opens the door for an ancient evil to join their party. Let's dig into how a perfect holiday turned into a desperate fight for survival. So our story kicks off with 4 college friends. You know how it is. Everyone's busy with their own lives, and they finally manage to get together for a reunion. Their big plan? Ditch the city, get out into nature, and celebrate New Year's Eve camping under the stars in Kashmir.
All right, so here's our crew. We've got Nitin, he's kind of the bold one, Dhruv, who's a bit more cautious, and their friends Ria and Versha. They've made the long drive, they've got their tent set up, a bonfire is roaring. I mean, the vibe is just pure excitement. They're ready to ring in the new year.
So as they're all just chilling around the fire, Dhruv, who's heard some of the local spooky stories, he shares this little piece of folklore. But his friends, and especially Nitin, they just kind of laugh it off. You know, to them, it's the perfect scary story for a campfire, but it's not something to actually take seriously.
Now this right here is super important, because this is basically the rule book for the monster. A Chalawa isn't just some ghost, it's a predator, and its main weapon is deception. It messes with your head, makes you see things that aren't there. But, and this is the crucial part, it has a weakness: fire. You're gonna want to remember that.
And here we go. This is the moment it all starts to go sideways. Nitin, feeling a little cocky after his friends teased him, decides he's gonna prove how brave he is. He makes a choice that's gonna seal all of their fates. He's gonna walk off into the pitch-black woods, alone.
And let's be super clear, this was not an accident. Dhruv had just warned him. He even joked that Nitin should take some matches with them, for protection. But Nitin just scoffs at the whole idea and deliberately walks away from the safety of that campfire, basically daring whatever's out there to show itself.
And bam, this is where you see the Chalawa's real power. Out in the woods, Nitin hears a girl crying. He finds her. She seems totally real and tells him she's in trouble. He's completely sold. So he brings her back to the camp to help, but when he starts introducing her, his friends are just staring at him, totally baffled. Because to them, he's standing there talking to thin air. Okay, so the fun's over. The second Nitin realizes the girl is just gone, that whole playful atmosphere shatters. The fear is real now. And what was a fun, celebratory campsite has just turned into a hunting ground. This all happened so fast, just minutes. Nitin is still trying to process what's happening when the Chalawa reveals its true, monstrous form to all of them. It grabs Nitin and starts dragging him into the darkness. But Ria, thinking fast, remembers Dhruv's warning. She snatches a burning log from the fire and hurls it at the creature. The others immediately follow her lead, and the flames force the thing to back off.
They don't even think. They just drag a terrified Nitin into the car and get out of there as fast as they possibly can. And for a split second, it feels like they got away. But here's the thing. They haven't escaped. Not even close. All they've really done is get the full, undivided attention of a very, very angry entity.
So now, it's a full-on chase scene. A desperate race through these dark, winding mountain roads. I mean, they're trying to outrun something that doesn't exactly follow the laws of physics.
Dhruv is flooring it. And then, boom, the entity just materializes right there in the middle of the road, its face twisting into something horrible. He has to swerve like crazy just to avoid crashing. And that's when it hits them. The horrifying truth. This thing isn't just haunting their campsite. It's actively hunting them.
And right when they think, okay, this cannot possibly get any worse, Ria glances in the rearview mirror. But she doesn't see the monster behind them. She sees their friend, Nitin, staring back at her with glowing red eyes and this awful smile. The monster isn't outside the car anymore. It's inside with them.
And it is just pure chaos. The possessed Nitin lunges for Ria, trying to strangle her right there in the backseat. They're fighting off their own friend while Dhruv is desperately trying to keep the car from flying off a cliff. It's an absolute nightmare.
But then, Varsha remembers she's wearing a sacred Rudraksha bracelet. She presses it against Nitin's forehead, and he recoils, screaming in pain. It works! This is their chance. They slam on the brakes, throw the doors open, and just run for their lives. But in all the panic, The bracelet, their only protection, it slips off and falls inside the car. It's gone.
So now they're on foot, in the dark, with nothing. The possessed Nitin gets out of the car, moving inhumanly fast. Before they can even react, he grabs Varsha. The last thing Dhruv and Rhea hear is her screaming as she's dragged into the pitch-black forest.
Dhruv and Rhea are completely alone now, totally defeated and just waiting to be next. All hope is just gone. But in this moment of absolute despair, Dhruv does the only thing he has left. He just collapses and prays.
And what happens next is just wild. It's like something straight out of a movie. As Dhruv is praying, a group of Naga sadhus just happens to be walking by. He begs them for help, and they agree. Using these ancient mantras, they create a trail of sacred ash that leads them right back to the abandoned car, where Rhea has now been captured too. The sadhus start chanting and throw more ash on the car, and a cloud of black smoke just erupts out of it, finally driving the entity away.
All right, let's do the math here, because it's simple and it's cold. 4 friends went on this trip. One of them got possessed, and 3 friends, Nitin, Rhea, and Dhruv, were ultimately rescued. But wait a second, that doesn't add up. What about Varsha?
And this is just the devastating final word from the Nagasahu. They were able to perform the exorcism and save the others, but they were too late for Varsha. The moment she was dragged into that forest, her fate was sealed. The Chalawa had claimed its victim.
In the end, it all comes down to that one number. 1. That's the number that haunts this whole story. 1 life was lost. And the price for ignoring a local legend, for a single moment of arrogance, was the life of their friend.
So yeah, the 3 survivors made it back home, but they brought a permanent scar back with them. Kashmir, this place that was supposed to be a paradise, had become their own personal hell. And the memory of that New Year's Eve is something they would have to live with forever.
And really, that's the question that just hangs over this entire story, isn't it? It wasn't some complicated plan that went wrong. It was a single, simple warning, just laughed off as a silly ghost story. A warning that, if they had just listened, might have changed everything.